Cross my
Alrighty,
fingers.
sounds good.
All right, bye. Yeah.
Alrighty, we have pushed the live button. We should be live right now. So here we are today. My name is Jim Hall. Let me change my little rename here to Jim Hall, since today we do not have Christy Hall. She's out with our daughter. Um, our daughter is in town for a couple of days. She's moving to Hawaii at the end of the school year, so we don't exactly know if she's going to be, how often we'll see her again. She's 27, and so I'm sure we'll see her some, but she is making the big trip to Hawaii, to the big island,
Hmm.
she says. She's not exactly sure, I guess, yet which island that is, but um hello, positive imaginators united. I think you've changed it again. I think your name is Mark, or uh Manas. um
Oh,
I
yeah,
know
yeah, yeah.
I know who you are. I just haven't quite honed in on your name properly yet. And I'm really good at names, so I hate to not know exactly what it is, but you do have a
Yeah, if you could say my
sort of
name good.
sort of unique one. We were in the business of um like you are, Janine, in the personalized gift business. So
Hmm.
we take names pretty personal. And usually if I see somebody's name at anywhere really, if it's a grocery store, a convenience store, anywhere, especially if I know I'm going to frequent that place, I will get to know the person's name and use it quite a bit, because I have found that that is a big thing to get better service, because soon as you say their name, they're extra friendly to you, especially if it's a name that is a little bit unique.
Yeah.
You know, and if you ask them, "Hey, how do you say your name?" That really brightens up somebody's day. If it's spelt a little funny or something,
Yeah.
they really like that. And so there was a guy named Richard at the movie theater that we always went to, and we would always say, "Hey, Richard," when we walked in, and he'd have a big smile, and of course he'd be ready for us at the ticket thing. And so everywhere we go, and when I was up at my dad's house, we went to the car place. um he says, "I totally agree, that makes people feel special." It really does. We were up at an auto shop, and me and my dad walked in, and I said, "Hey, Roger, how's it going?" And my dad said, "How do you know his name?" And I was like, "Dad, it's right there on his uniform." I
Imagine.
just imagine that, right? They all wear it for that reason, so their names. There
That's right.
must be a reason for it's not to get them in trouble, right?
No.
It's actually to interact with them. So I use it all the time whenever I go anywhere, because it makes them smile. And like I said, you tend to get just a slight better service when you recognize somebody by their name. So
Hmm.
today is about mindset. And that could be a little bit of mindset that we're talking about, right? It's a little challenging in an email to do that, except for you can put in a first name block, right? You can put in a first name block and say, "Hey, first name, how you doing today?" You can use first name a couple of times in your email as you do. Like, I know Paul, how's it going, Danny? Good to see you today. You are muted if you want to unmute. If you don't want to unmute, that's up to you. It doesn't look like, well, it looks like you're in your truck. You don't look like you're
Always,
actively driving. Um,
always in the truck.
Always in the truck.
One of these days you want, my friend. One of these
One
I,
days.
day, one day we'll get you out of there, Danny. That's our
I,
goal.
I wanted to stay home today because it is pouring rain, man.
Yeah, you look a little bit damp.
Yeah.
Um, but you can use that active field for that first name in your emails, and it does help. Now, a lot of people know that those emails are not personal emails anymore, that they are autoresponders, and that you're not actually sending them out one on one anymore. But a lot of people don't, so there's still that a lot of people don't understand, that there's systems that send those things. So some people will reply to them and not realize that they're not that it's a robot, right? I mean, you actually set it up, you actually sent it, and it does actually go to your email. It's not like it's, completely automated or anything like that. So you can do those things. Now, some people say don't do that because a lot of people don't put in the right name. Like when we go through our groups, some people join our Facebook groups without their real name. So I'll not put in their name if it's something like, I don't know,
Peaches and cream.
baker shop, right? If it's like baker shop, yeah, peaches and cream, like
Yeah.
like Janine says, and I won't put that in as a name. I'll just put in their email address because that can be a little bit strange, right? So if I notice it, I won't put it in there. Sometimes I'm pretty quick at going through those and I may not notice it. But all right, so today, like I said, we are going to talk about mindset a little bit. And I think, it's interesting because I made a post in our little group and I said, I'm thinking about building a quite complex affiliate marketing membership site that covers everything from A to Z. And most of my responses were, I need help with mindset. And that I find that interesting because most people getting started don't want anything to do with mindset. Isn't that interesting? But once they realize that, once they've been here a little while and they get the meat and potatoes, they're like, I wonder what's really missing here. Must be mindset, right?
Yeah.
The meat and potatoes, the parts that are easy, the parts that we talked the other day about income producing activities, and a lot of people will think that building your website is an income producing activity, right? And we kind of determined that's not really an income producing activity. It's required. It's required, right? But it needs to get done and move on because you can spend. Yeah, bless you, Danny.
Oh, that was a cough.
That was a cough. Bless you, anyways. When Christy hiccups, I usually tell her bless you, just because I think it's kind of funny. So I'll
tell you what, the mindset is actually the hardest thing to get to start learning and figure out where your mindset has to. I think that's harder than learning all the stuff that we have to learn in our back office,
Well, and I think the thing about mindset is it's a little bit squirrely, right? Because it can change a lot on you too. There's a book out there called The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster, right? Because your mindset can kind of do this thing, right? It can go up and down. It even happens with us that have been in it a long time that have made a lot of money. I struggle sometimes with, why have I had so many people lately come in and not do anything and then just quit? And it's like, I don't get it, but then I talk to a few people and they're like, well, maybe you're not targeting the right people. And if you targeted people of a little higher quality, get people in at a little higher level, then maybe those people would have a better starting mindset, or they just have more in the game to begin with that they would stick a little longer, right? So
I really wish they would, because I tell you what, Mike and Paul are awesome, and we have an awesome group community. But when you can get in and hone in on one-on-one like we do, I mean, there ain't nothing like it. Right? I mean, and Paul and Mike they'll tell you step by step exactly what to do and everything, but it's still a little mind-blowing sometimes.
Well, and
we may not say that. I may not be saying it right.
No, and I get what you're saying. The overall challenge is there's a really lot to this business, right? Yeah. And I think that what happens is I think it's the same problem that there is in multi-level marketing, right? People get this concept that anyone can do it, but they're not really explaining that anyone can do it if they stick around long enough, if they learn enough, if they apply enough, right?
Mm.
The challenge is that it's hard to go from driving all the time to out of driving. You know, there's when you only when you're working, I don't know what Danny works, 50, 60 hours a week. When you're
50.
working, when you're working 50 hours a week, it's fairly challenging to put in another 30 to 40 hours a week to get out of that 50 hours a week, right? Um, but the reality is, hate to say it, that's about what you have to put in is another 30 to 40 hours a week to really start to make that other full-time income, right? I mean, yeah, you can make a part-time income part-time, but a part-time income isn't really going to get you out of your full-time job. And that's a tough thing. So the mindset is, we talk about mindset, we talk about expectations a lot. Where can you make those things that can that you can that you can that you can leverage more, right? And in Danny's case, I know you do a lot of TikTok stuff, but I'm not sure TikTok is that leveraged right now. And maybe YouTube is where you should be looking at because YouTube is a little more leveraged.
That's exactly what I've been trying to go back to is YouTube. But for me, YouTube it takes more time than TikTok. That's why I was concentrating on TikTok because you got to do all that extra stuff with YouTube. So somebody else that has an 8-hour day job working inside somewhere and has structure, they go at the same time, they're done at the same time. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a lot easier for them to transfer over. Like Craig that's doing DoorDash. A lot easier for him to transfer over. So mindset is crazy. Like I've been getting people, they want to sign up, but they're having issues, financial issues or something. And this is what I've been attracting, and they can't do it now. But then, then they want to be ready, but they're not really ready from what they're telling me. No, they're taken away from their plate to do it. And I had to turn them away. Like what I said in the TNC, and it's like, well, okay, so I got to attract somebody else besides this.
Right.
Or
and
wait.
With most home businesses, the financial thing is a bit of mindset thing more than anything because everybody has $25. I mean, so they're really using that as a bit of an excuse to say, I'm afraid it won't work. I don't have $25 to spend on that because I don't believe that will be beneficial to me. So those are some kinds of things that you somehow have to learn to work around. And the way that you do that, of course, is through benefits outside of making money with it. And that's challenging, right? But if you can do that more, then those people will also stick around more because what happens is if you get people to come in for the money, then the $25 is important. And if they don't make it back right away, then they leave right away. Right. So now,
well, we have another tool that we can use too now. And if they're having trouble with $25, now we can offer them a $10 gig, which is let's go.
Right. Which again, in my opinion, the money really is not the issue. I mean, we're talking about even let's say 150 a month. You're only talking about how much a year? You're only talking about one credit card a year, right? So, I mean, unless you're really, really down, most people are spending $25 on something a month that they could cut out if they believed there was a reason to, right? That's the biggest thing is, what are you willing to give up to change your situation? Now, the problem is, do you believe you even can change your situation? Is that a reality? And exactly, until you believe that this is a reality, you're not going to spend the $25. You're not going to spend the 150. You're not going to spend whatever it is. Even if it was $1, people are like, I don't have the money, right? Because I don't believe that it's going to change my position. So what they're really saying is, I don't want to give up my Starbucks because I don't think it's going to bring in any extra value to my life.
But then they'll spend $1 on a lottery ticket.
Right. Because
Easy.
Reach it.
Right? Because the same thing. Because there is a chance, but they don't even believe there is a chance that they can do it on their own. Right? Yeah. So that's a very good question. I totally agree that makes people feel special. That's a very good question. Positive Imaginator said. I'm not sure what question you meant there, Positive. Let us know. So what you can do there is provide the value outside of the money. And if you can do that, then you can show them that they can afford it, because they can not go out to dinner once a month. They can not buy a coffee, 4 days a month, and things like that. So that's one way that, because the mindset is blocking them, you have to figure out how to either get them to believe, one, which getting them to believe is harder than getting them to see the value in it. What are you willing to give up in order to change? Exactly. And what are you willing to give up in order to change? That's a hard question sometimes, right? The better question might be, what is your reason to change? What is big enough? Is it big enough to get out of that truck, to work another 30 to 40 hours a week, to stop socializing after work, right? Whatever it is that's taking up that time that keeps you from getting a YouTube video done instead of a TikTok video, right? So those are the kinds of things in your mindset. We know, we suspect, and I'm only picking on you a little bit, Danny, just because I know you can take it.
Well, for me, it's even harder because, my girlfriend just moved here.
Right.
So all she has is me here.
Right.
So I can't go home from work I get home at 7 or later PM, which is already late, eat dinner together, and then I'm going to disappear on the computer. I just can't do that.
Right.
She feels alone, so I really have to figure something out.
So you just choose not to do that. You could do
well,
that.
I could leave her alone, but
Right.
I don't want her moving back to California because she moved here to be with me, and it's a tough thing I got going on.
So can she do it?
Right. See, and that's the big challenge, Danny, is what you're doing is you're deciding that your relationship is as important as is as continuing to drive, right? Basically, you not driving is not as important as not seeing your girlfriend.
Yeah, well, not driving she's more important than anything besides my kids.
Right.
But
right. And that's just reality. There's nothing, it's hard to get around that. So go ahead.
Oh, I agree, because if David was alive, you better believe he doesn't believe that any of this online work works.
Right.
My honey now, he does not believe you have to go out and work.
Right.
Work. And I'm like, I am working.
And there's a whole lot of people that don't believe that this works, right?
Right.
Now, we could focus our energy on trying to get those people to believe, right?
Mm.
No, that's
Mhm.
not a very good idea.
No.
Let's not waste our time on that. Let's focus our time on the people that do believe it works and then help them make it work, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
And that's what we want to do here. And the same thing, just like you just said, Danny. So the problem in your business, in your mindset, is that you have come to a point where the way you're doing it, you don't have enough time to make it work. So you have to figure out something new,
Yep.
or you're going to be stuck driving, right?
Right.
So, and the only way to overcome that is through reasons, what I call reasons, goals, whatever you want to call them. And the way to overcome that is to make something stronger, right?
I
Not
have to mute for a
driving.
minute, just
Go
so you
ahead.
know.
So not driving has to become more important to Danny than driving, in
Mhm.
order for his business to become more important than I hate to say than his girlfriend, because that's probably not going to happen, right?
No.
But somewhere in there, that's kind of what has to happen, and that can be very challenging. And that's sort of the same place that I'm at right now. Is I have enough money, so I'm not really willing to work hard enough to make money. So I'm doing these kinds of things where I'm helping other people because my passion is helping other people. I don't need the money. I was talking with someone earlier today, and they're like, you could do this to make money instead. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't need the money. That's not a fulfilling destiny for me. I know I could make a lot more money doing different things,
Mhm.
but the money isn't the part that I'm interested in. The part I'm interested in is I would way rather see Janine make $1,000 than me make $1,000. If I could just
And I
put it
would
in your
appreciate
business,
that. Yes.
you know.
Yes.
But that's just not the way it works. My monitors keep coming in and out. I think I've got some loose connections somewhere. I need to talk
Nope.
down.
But I have started doing some YouTube videos,
You've done
sir.
some YouTube videos.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And I've just changing my whole mindset.
Okay. Well, we know YouTube works, right?
Yes.
Now, does YouTube work for making money? There's a
It
lot of
does.
rich people
A
on
lot of
YouTube,
people
right?
make money on it.
So we know it works. We know YouTube works for leads. We know that YouTube works for traffic in general. So we know those things work.
Mhm.
Whether or not they work for you, we don't know yet for sure. But you got to keep working it to see if you can get it to work for you.
Well, it
And
won't work if you don't do it. That's for sure.
it won't work if you don't do it, right? We know that for sure. The same thing with the lottery ticket, right? You won't win the lottery if you don't play. But I was looking at the odds today, and there's 1 in 212 million chance of winning the top prize in the Powerball. 1 in 212 million chance. So it might have been a little higher than that, but the thing is that basically means if you bought one ticket 212 million times, you have a chance to win, right? It's still not guaranteeing a win, but that's pretty sad odds.
Mhm.
So going back into mindset. So another big thing that people have a problem with, of course, is fear. And I think fear is one of those things, like you just said, Janine. A lot of people think that if they don't do it, they can't get rejection, right?
Mhm.
Well, that's true, but if you don't do it, you automatically get rejection.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I think
But you're rejecting yourself, really.
you're rejecting yourself, right?
Mhm.
I had a guy friend when I was younger that he was terrified to talk to women because he was afraid that they would tell him no. And I was like, but dude, you're you're making them tell you no because you're not talking to them, And I'm like, just talk to them. The only way you're going to get used to talking to girls is to talk to them. And
Yeah.
so we bought him a video game to talk to girls through it. We bought him all kinds of stuff. He was terrified. And I don't know if it's the same kind of thing like prospects in MLM. Like you only have 5, right? You only have 5 people that are going to join you. So you don't want to mess it up, right? So I don't know if that's what it was or what, but my feeling is there's plenty of people out there. So just talk to them, right? The girls that you like, the girls you see you like, just talk to them. And I showed him this back then. It didn't matter to me at all. So we went to the mall. I got phone numbers. I got like 7 or 8 phone numbers at the mall. And he was like, how do you do that? I'm like, well, it don't matter to me at all. Whether they say yes or no, it really don't matter because I'm not going to call them anyways, and so it's a little bit besides the point, I guess. But the idea is here's still the same thing.
It's the same
Fear, yeah, fear is just something that stands in your way because if you let fear guide you, then you are causing what you're afraid of. So, I mean, now I'm not saying don't be afraid of a poisonous snake, right? I mean, a poisonous snake, you should have some fear of that. My wife is terrified of tree frogs. I don't get it. I don't know how to overcome it, but I'm like, babe, they don't have teeth. They're not going to bite you. He's trying to get away. I don't understand this fear,
It could be the sound.
I don't know what it is, but last night I had to chase the tree frog off the porch before she could go in the house because those things are terrifying. And I'm like, I mean, why do I have to go chase it off then if it's so scary? I need a drink. So, Janine, you're going to talk for a minute while I go refill my cup because I don't have anything to drink in here.
Okay, well, you better drink your water. We need to refill. So, yeah, mindset. I've just started to do some YouTube videos and just change my whole little mindset here about, and really I had to do it for me. I couldn't really do it for anybody else. My husband's gone, my kids are grown.
You got lucky. I filled it up before I just forgot it out there.
Good job. I was just saying, I had to change my whole mindset and I had to do it for me because, I don't have a husband. The kids live out of state. I mean, there's nobody. I had to do it for me.
Right. You either do it or you got to get a job, right?
Well, I was talking to another one of our people in our community, and she said either poop or get off the pot. So,
well, and that's what I was talking to someone this morning, and they said, Jim, maybe you need to go out here and be a little more aggressive to these people and tell them basically what you said: poop or get off the pot. And that's true. I'm not really like that, and I did say, I was in the military, so I do have some militaristic features. I can be a little bit of a hard butt, but it's not really my nature to be. If you were an employee, I would guide you a little harder, but you're not, right? So sure, do what you're supposed to do, but you have an option too, right? So not that you didn't have an option. Like I worked at McDonald's and I was a manager and I did have several walkouts because apparently they have an option to just leave if they want. And for some reason, the owners would just let them come back. And I'm like, what do you mean? They just walked out during my shift, and a couple of them ganged up on me and started to say I was racist. And I'm like, I'm not racist. You're just not doing the job. That's it. You know, if you're gonna walk out during my shift, that's on you. I didn't tell you to walk out, you know. And so, anyways,
It's the same way in home health care, though. I took care of a couple, a year or so ago or whatever. And we had this third shift person that would leave after they were in the bed at night. Now, they were both fall risk. Really? You're going to leave an elderly person in bed and they're fall risk? Not. Yeah, no.
well, at McDonald's, you know, you don't get paid unless you're actually doing the job.
Right.
So you can't just walk out, you know. I mean, and I don't know, and expect to get paid at all. I imagine it's a little different in home health care because at least you're kind of on the clock still, right? You're on call or whatever.
Well, I am private. So if I don't, I mean, like, I could tell Pat, I'm not coming in tomorrow. Well, you're not getting paid tomorrow. I
Okay.
mean, you know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's hard to do too, right? And that is
It
at
is.
least the good thing about our business is, or about almost any business online. You do, like I was trying to tell Danny, you do have some leverage. There's different ways to leverage a little more, and some of the ways work a little better for leverage. So I was reading a post the other day about, it's a little off of mindset, but it's not really off of mindset, because a lot of people think that they get paid at their job for the hours that they work, and they don't actually get paid for the hours that they work. They get paid for the hours, they get paid for the value that they provide in those hours, right? So but if you're not there, you're not providing any value, right? Where in our business, we can provide value by automating things. If you could automate some of your home health care, you could still get paid for it. It's a little harder to automate, right? But I could see how somebody could think, okay, well, they're asleep, I can automate this, right? The rest of the night is paid because they're good. They could have at least gone to sleep beside of them or something, right? And then at least
We had a couch in the living room where you could go
Right.
to sleep.
right now
I mean,
you're automated, but you can't
now
expect
you're
to get
automated.
paid and not be there.
Right. And I mean, well, like now I'm kind of automated because I also pet sit, as you know. I'm
Right.
taking care of a horse and a dog. Now I will feed the horse and walk the dog when I get home from Granny's.
Right.
So while I'm at work, well, we're taking care of Granny, that's kind of automated.
Right. For sure. And so that's some things like in sales, you can make more money by selling more things per hour. You know, if you only sell one thing per hour, you make a certain amount of money. If you sell 100 things per hour, you make a certain amount of money. So it just depends on, you know, what are those things and how much are those things worth. Now your amount per hour can be nearly any amount, right?
Sure.
And then if you can automate more, like through YouTube and stuff like that, you can jack that number way up. You know, Jim Rohn said, you know, if you work at McDonald's, you can make, at the time it was like $5 an hour was minimum wage or whatever, but you can make $5 an hour. He said, but if you smile on the way out to take out the garbage, you can make another $1 an hour, right? And he said, but can you make 5 times that? And he said, you know, even at McDonald's, somebody makes 5 times that. And then he's like, can you make 5 times that? And he's like, well, if you become valuable enough, even at McDonald's, somebody makes 5 times that, right? So the overall thing is, it really doesn't matter where it is that you're at. If you progress, if you get more valuable, right? And that's what I was trying to tell some of the kids at McDonald's. Like, hopefully you realize that you can make there's jobs at McDonald's up to millions of dollars a year
Mhm.
if you get better. But if you just stay a minimum wage person, you're going to stay a minimum wage person.
Mhm.
You're never going to make any more than a minimum wage.
Right.
And I do think that carries over to here as well.
Mhm.
That if we don't develop the skills, if we don't learn to automate, if we don't learn how to be better, you're not going to make a lot of money either. And some of that does come down to, a lot of it comes down to mindset. A lot of it comes down to actual hours in input, and a lot of it comes down to how much can you automate, right? And what are the best ways to leverage? We know that YouTube is a little better at leverage. I think that like TikTok is decent for leverage, but like I know Danny likes to do lives on TikTok, and I don't think, as far as I understand, there's no leverage in that. Once the live is done, it's gone. They don't save it anywhere.
I don't
These
think
lives, yeah, these lives on YouTube, while they're not very searchable, they're not very good on YouTube, they're not gone. They are at least there, and they can be found. So the leverage is not great for these lives, but it's not gone like it is on TikTok. So the leverage for live on YouTube is limited for sure, but not gone. Okay, let's look at some of the other things people said about what we're talking about here and mindset. For me, my biggest holdback is mindset. I think that's my issue too. Not that I don't believe, but rather having the confidence to actually be of value. That's a good one. Mindset and confidence, communication skills here, I think. Now, and I think this is a big one. Now, we talked about a couple weeks ago, again, we talked about income producing activities, right? We talked about setting up your website is not necessarily a income producing activity, but we did talk about what is reading is an income producing activity. And why is that? Because reading can help you with mindset, it can help you with confidence, it can help you with communication skills. Because reading, someone has done all of these things and has recorded it. Jim Rohn says, and I read a lot of Jim Rohn, so I refer to Jim Rohn a lot because he's got some really, really good stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the things he says is, you've got the guy, right, he's gone to work all day long, and the guy comes home and the guy says, I can't be reading and reading and reading all night. And he says, and this is coming from the guy who can't pay his bills, And he says, and that's okay. You don't have to read all night, but read as much as you can, because
He'll probably sit down and watch TV and drink a beer, though.
Right. He probably sat down and drank a beer, right? And watched TV for 2 or 3 or 4 hours, right?
I gotta watch that wrestling. I gotta watch that wrestling.
Right. That wrestling's good stuff. Yeah. So, and by reading, and this is something, my daughter just took a trip down from South or North Carolina. I can never remember where she lives exactly. South, I think. But she drove down for 7 or 8 hours. She probably listened to the radio the whole way, right? And that's what most people will do. But you could throw an audiobook in and get some college education on your way from wherever you're at. Now, it doesn't have to be self-help necessarily. It could be anything on any subject, not necessarily fiction, right? It should probably be something other than fiction, because fiction is still about the same as watching the TV show. But it could be on health, it could be on, how to fix things. Even like how it's made on TV is better than watching just a TV show, because at least you're getting a little value out of it, right?
Yeah.
So
I watch a lot of cooking shows.
a lot of cooking shows, right? You're at least learning a little something.
Exactly.
And The only problem with me with cooking shows is it tends to go to my waistline.
Mine
so-
too, buddy. Mine too. Yeah. But you was talking about listening to audio. We have our little morning call every morning. Well,
Right.
I always listen to the J93. It's a Christian radio station, and I listen to it forever. And I'm thinking, I don't know why I wasn't thinking I couldn't dial in and drive and just have the call playing.
Right.
So now that's what I do. I can't do the *6 or anything because I'm driving, but I do listen to the call every day.
Right. Right. Now you may or may not know this, but you can also, let me share my screen real quick.
Okay.
The way I usually do it is, grab it. Let me grab a thing here. I go here to this free conference called hd.com/dialer. Now I saved the little phone number right here. So I go 667-770-1524. Then I call in. Oops, got to put in your name. You can do this on your phone also. Then you put in your code. Obviously, it's not going to do much right
Access
now.
code accepted. The host has not arrived yet.
Okay.
Please wait.
But here's your mute button on and off. You don't have to do *6, then you just push mute and you could talk. So that could be a little easier for you in order to call in.
Oh,
Just call in like this when you leave your house. Then when you want to talk, just push the mute button and then you can talk. So just something to think about. What that is good for is anyone that's not in the US can make that call for free also through that phone line. And that information is we post that quite a bit in our little thing. Let me update it on the website real quick and we can throw that up there.
okay.
Let me see here. Let me find my website page. It looks like for some reason, I closed all of my pages that I usually have up over here. So the way that we do this is we'll log into our web page and I'll throw this link up there and then it will pop open if you refresh the page that you're on.
Now,
So,
while you're doing all that, do we like I'm trying to fix a privacy page and I know it's back in the back. Do I need to make a redirect for that? And then
no, you don't need a redirect. If you make a page on your page, and I'll show you that in just a second.
okay.
So here's our mastermind collection button, and that will work just the same as, so if you just refresh the page that you're on, which is this page here, I haven't even covered the page you're on today. This page has the button, and right now it only has the mastermind collection page that I just put on here. And that will send you over here to, hopefully, yeah, that worked. And then this tells you right here how to do that. Replays are available. Not the replays. Does it not show that? There was a link here, I thought. Live Masterminds plugin.
Set up top.
No, I don't. They must have taken it back off of here. Anyways, you can go over to freeconferencecallhd.com/dialer. That's freeconferencecallhd.com/dialer. And then you can use this information. This one's actually for the replay. This is for the live calls at 9 in the morning. And you can just use those numbers in the dialer. And that's how you can get that information. And this is stuff we cover usually every Friday. This is our, if you just click this button right here, you can get that information. And then the join community button popped up too. But this gets you over to the mastermind collection and the information that's over here as far as the Rich audio. Oh, this is where they put it. So the VoIP website is right here. which goes to that same thing that I was talking about. So that's in the Grow Rich audio section. And then you can get all the other information about our morning calls. And the morning calls are hosted by different people every day, but it's all in part, like Janine listens to it every day. I listen to it most days. Christy runs it some days, and a bunch of other people are involved in it as well. And it's about mindset. It's about, right now they're reading, looks like they're reading As a Man Thinketh. We have a book of the month. The book this month is Lincoln the Unknown. And then As a Man Thinketh is fairly short, so they'll go to the next book after that. And so it's all good stuff. It's all good stuff of like-minded people. And
character, greed.
Right? This page that you're probably on is the page that we do this on every day, every time that we go live, just so that we can help people. And then after you're here for a few minutes, these buttons pop up and you can join the community, you can join our business. And then after a few more minutes, the last 7 replays pop up and you can see some of the other value and stuff that we have given here. So this is what we do directly to help people in the community to make sales. And then you can replicate this page by putting in your HBA affiliate token down here, and it will make a page with your code in these buttons. So these buttons will actually give you credit if you are part of our business. And our business pays 80% commissions. So that's why we like this business so much. You can see the digital wealth formula through this button right here. And you can get all of the stuff here. You can make up to, with just 3 sales a week, you can make up to $224,000 a year this way. So, we did talk about how it would be challenging, right? It would be challenging to make 3 sales per week, but it could be done if you got your mindset right, if you use some leverage, if you worked enough hours. That is a pretty good income right there.
Or if it was automated enough.
If it was automated enough, right? Now, 1 sale a week pays up to $74,000 a year. 1 sale a week is a lot more achievable. Now, keep in mind, this is also keeping that sale for a whole year. Each of those sales for a whole year, 52 times a year for $74,000 a week. Again, not easily done, but possible, right? The company has been in business for 6 years, pays 80% commissions on a real product that is a page builder that I just use here, what we use in our business for everything that we do. So it's not a scam product. It's not a fly-by-night company. It's a great product that is an actual product that you don't need to sell. That's what I was telling Danny. You can just use this for your business. You don't have to make money off of this in order to keep it. It's not like the old days where you buy into Herbalife and you buy $5,000 worth of product and then you put it in the closet because you don't know what the heck to do with it. This is, I had so much Herbalife product. I bet I had 5 years worth of product. This is a product we use on a daily basis for a couple of our companies, a couple of our different things that we do. That you get multiple websites, you don't have to. I mean, you start off with 1 domain and so forth, but we use it for a lot of different things. So anyways, we love the product. We love how easy it is to use. You get a lot of bonuses, like $12,253 worth of bonuses to be exact. Anyways, I won't go on too far about that, but that's what we're here for, is to help educate people on the company that we're a part of and how to build a business with it, right? And usually we do a little bit of tech stuff. And Janine was asking if once she does your privacy page, if you need a redirect. Okay. So let me share that real quick. Let me make sure I had all of the stuff that I wanted to talk about as far as mindset real quick.
Okay.
I think I did. I covered fear. Let me see what I sent out. I closed my email. So I think we're good on that. We talked about fear. We talked about belief. We talked about, are you good enough? How about, do you deserve it? I think those are kind of bottled into, are you working enough? Do you deserve it? If you're working enough, I think you deserve it, right? Are you good enough? I think everyone is good enough. I think that's something a lot of people struggle with is, are you good enough?
Mhm.
And I think even Christy struggles with this a lot with her baking stuff. Are you good enough? My thing is on this, if you learn something and you use it and you can show someone else how to do it, you're good enough.
Right.
It doesn't have to be anything big, right? Even like copy and paste, right? Did that help you the other day when you said, Jim, can you show me that copy and paste stuff?
Mhm.
Right? You were like,
Right.
Jim, do you got a
Exactly.
video on that copy and paste stuff? And I'm like, no, but I'll make you one. I
Right.
mean, just copy and paste, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's helpful.
And I'm really bad. I used to be bad about comparing myself with whoever, and you
Right.
can't do that because you're different people. You're a different,
people,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I have a pretty good idea of how much money Paul has made over the years, and I like to say that, it's hard to compare someone to Paul because Paul's been doing this for 20 years.
Mhm.
You've been doing this for about 20 years also, but we also have to be kind of realistic. Do you think you've worked as hard or as long or as many hours as Paul?
No. No.
Right? Paul has put in some work, right?
Oh, and does every day, every day. I'm like, I've never seen two people pour as much into a company and still charge the same amount. I could cry. It just makes me,
Yeah.
there's
Um,
nothing like it.
no. Paul has done the work. I asked him a few years ago, does he even remember not being the Paul that he is now? How much work has he really done? I remember meeting him in 2013, 11 years ago. And at that point, I had already made a lot of money online, a lot, over a $500,000 online. And
Wow.
and I remember not being able to approach Paul. He was so legendary. Like, and literally, I could not. I met a lot of people. I met Vic Strizhouse. I met David Wood. I met David Sharp. I met Chris Record. I met Stone Evans. I don't know if you know who Stone Evans is. I was planning on meeting Russell Brunson at the time. He was my sponsor in Empower Network. It was actually Russell Brunson, and I couldn't go up to Paul. He was too legendary at the time, 11 years ago. And now we're like good friends. We've hugged, I think at the time he would have considered me an equal. I think he would have considered any of us equals. But to
Yeah.
me, he was legendary. It was like big, big, big,
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, so we're gonna go into what we were talking about here. We're gonna go into a little bit of tech stuff just to show Janine how to do this here. So you have gone in here, you have created a page, right, in your privacy pages.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what that means then is you should have named your page whatever it's named.
Privacy page.
Okay, so that is then the name of it. So you should have and I'll just do privacy page delete, privacy page delete. Okay, and then that will be then down at the bottom of my pages down here.
Right.
So now you can either, so like in your links page, for instance, I'm assuming that's kind of where you want to put it. See, I don't have one down here. Like I had said to you, you don't really need one unless you're doing ads to it.
So I really don't need one?
You really don't need one unless you're doing ads from like Google, YouTube, Facebook, anything like that. Okay. Now remember, I said I was doing ads from Facebook over to this page, right?
Right.
Remember, we talked about this. I
Mhm.
have one here because it's required in order to do ads to it. Okay.
Mhm.
But my my links page does not have one because it's not required unless you're doing paid advertising to it. Okay. But doesn't mean that you don't necessarily shouldn't have one. It sort of looks good for people that look for it. I just don't think very many actual people look for it.
Sure.
Okay. So what we've done then is we've added a block, and
Mhm.
then we've come in here and we've added probably a footer block, right? Something like
Right.
probably this one is about the easiest one. And then all
Jim,
you got to
is
do,
the noise of this truck messing with you at all?
no, I don't hear it at all.
Okay.
So then you would just, let's call this about us. We'll just rename this to privacy. And then of course, there's a ton of different ways to actually go about doing this. But then you would just come in here and then you would link to that page.
Gotcha.
And that's it. That's all you
Okay.
need to do.
Okay.
Obviously, you want to go into your privacy page and make your edits. Discard.
Right. Oh, yeah, yeah.
For your logos and all that other stuff. But
Yeah, I changed got
as-
the logo and all that jazz.
as far as making the link to it, that's as much as you need to do, whether you do that with your little navigation bar or whatever. That burp or whatever that was great, Danny.
What's it? Oh, I was just clearing my throat. That's all that was.
At first, I thought you were like doing truck noises, like they don't hear it. Let me make a.
Oh, okay. Well, thank
So-
you. I'm making it harder than it was supposed to be.
Yeah, and I tried to say that the other day because who was it? John said that make sure to have that, and I wanted to make sure that to clear up some of those things. Yeah, maybe you should, but it's not required. So, like I said, maybe some people are going to look for that, but in my experience, it's nothing that the majority of people are going to go down and see and make sure that you have.
Gotcha.
Um,
Good deal.
So, but Facebook, YouTube, Google, they will make sure you have that before they'll approve your ads. So,
Mhm.
so if you want to do any kind of paid advertising, you definitely want to have that. It's part of their scheme. So,
Mm. They poor things, they got to make money too.
right? Yep, I know. They're really hurting.
Yeah.
They declined a couple of my ads the other day because of I don't remember what they said, untrue claims or something. I'm like, you're not even looking at them. I'm not making any kind of claims, So it's one of those things again, some people do their jobs and then some people think they do their jobs and then some people just click yes. And I think it works in every industry and everything. So that's about all I have for today. Hopefully we got a little good value out there and let some people
Been a great
lean
day.
on. I think so. I say this a lot. The reality is, and we talked about this with who I was talking with earlier. A lot of things work if you'll just do them on a pretty consistent basis.
Mhm.
Like we talked about, we definitely know YouTube works.
Mhm.
People make money with it. people get leads with it, and people get traffic to websites with it. So we know it works. It's just a matter of how do we get it to work for us. So because we know it works, we can continue to spend time on that method, right? The same thing with online business. We know it works. I know a lot of people don't really think it works, but I personally have met in person 10 or 15 people that I know have made $1 million on the internet. Okay. I have made about that myself, so I know it works. Is it tough? It is tough. I've met thousands that have made less than 100 probably online, less than $100. So I know it's tough, but it does work. You just have to keep working it. You know, it's no different than any business offline.
Yeah.
The amount of businesses that fail offline are like 95%, right?
Yeah. Well,
But
after
go ahead.
Austin got killed, after Austin got killed in that car wreck, and Pat called me, I was basically working for myself. And before, while I was taking care of Austin, and I did pet sitting, and I still do pet sitting, that's still working for myself. I haven't punched a time clock in years.
Right.
But now
Right.
if I don't work, I don't get paid.
Well, and I don't know if I told you guys about this or not, but I dropped some shot glasses in my toilet because they're Star Wars shot glasses, and my bathroom is decorated in all Star Wars, and they were up on this shelf and they dropped in my toilet. Well, we thought we had a leak, so I'm looking around for the leak. That's when they dropped in the toilet. Then I closed the lid on the toilet, and I'm looking around the toilet, and I flushed the toilet with the shot glasses in the toilet.
Darth Vader got flushed.
Darth Vader got flushed. Well, actually,
Oh, geez.
Chewbacca's the one that caused the problem.
Oh,
Chewbacca got stuck in the toilet. The other
Leave
two
big.
of the others broke and managed to make it through the toilet, but Chewbacca got stuck because he didn't break. He's too hardcore to break, and so he got stuck in the toilet. Well, I tried to get him out myself, and I was like, you know what? I'm just not in the mood to take the toilet off and do the toilet. So I called a plumbing company, which I don't normally do, but I really just wanted it done and over with. Called a plumbing company to come out and take this shot glass out of my toilet. $450 later, shot glass has been removed from my toilet. Right?
Yeah.
It costs less than $450 to get Home Depot to come out and install a new toilet with toilet included.
Plumbers are
Right.
not cheap, especially
know.
if you call them on the weekends. You're
Well,
pretty much,
And here's
You
the
know.
part that really frustrates me about that. Not even the fact that it's cheaper to get a toilet and installation, but that it only took 20 minutes. And you know that the guys that came out only make what? 20 or 30, maybe $50 an hour. So
not up here. Probably around maybe closer to 40 up here.
well, 40, right? That's what I'm saying. 20 to $50 an hour. But they charged $450 for a half an hour's worth of work.
mhm.
So the guys who actually did the work don't end up making any money hardly at all. And the company that did nothing gets $400. Not that the company didn't do nothing. I understand that the company does a lot of stuff, but it's like, I just hate paying the company instead of, I normally work with handyman, you know, because I much rather give him $450 directly than,
Sure.
but I just really needed it done. But it's frustrating. It is frustrating that a $2 cup cost me $450, and we're not done. There's some other problem with the other 2 cups that are still stuck in there. So
Ooh. New toilet time. Just another one.
well, No, it's past the toilet. It's in between the toilet and the septic now. There's,
Oh, no.
yeah, so
In the,
Bleach ain't gonna take care of that.
no, no. No, it's an expensive challenge. So the guy did say, well, at least you'll never put anything up there again. So that's and like Christy said, hey, at least we can afford it, right? So
true.
it didn't affect us too much, even though it costed $450. So so we're thankful for that. So anyways, this is today's show. We enjoyed it. We love doing this. Like I said, I do this more for you guys, you guys here, than for me, because I don't need the money. But I do want to try to help you guys. I definitely want to help people like you, Danny, to get out of your truck, and
Well,
I know you're in a tough spot because it's a hard spot when you have no more time, and unfortunately you have no choice but to make choices that you don't want to make, so
yep. I was just gonna say, well, you got to find something to do besides flushing things down the toilet. You shouldn't be
well, yeah, I'm doing it to you too, Danny. I'm flushing you down the toilet. It's fine.
Yep. And
Yeah.
I don't want to say I refuse, because I'll never say I refuse, but I don't want, when something happens to Granny, I really don't want to pick up somebody else. I'm 64 years old.
Right?
I mean, really? No.
I know.
I appreciate you more than you know, Jim. You've helped me
Well,
out in the past too. So
I keep doing it because I do know there's a lot of appreciation in it. So that's why I keep going, so I'm going to be 50 this year. I'm not getting any younger, but I am only 50 so far. So
kids,
yeah. Huh?
damn kids.
Damn kids, right? Right. I'm going to stop the live, but I'm going to continue talking for a minute. So everybody have a good day.